Alrighty, cool. We got 2 more hours. Let's see what we can do in that 2 hours. So, we have, what do we have here? We have cutscenes, trial course. We need to launch this thing somehow. We also need to have some sort of a cutscene playback interface scene. So let's get a canvas layer. Let's get cutscenes, save it up, and this is just going to be a singleton, so it'll exist all the time. Okay. Autoload. Let's go to objects, scripts, not scripts, cutscenes. There we go. Add this up. So now we have a cutscenes singleton. We can talk to that. And I believe since this is 3D, but it needs to be rendered to 2D, we need to use a viewport container. Okay. Make it the full size, like this. Okay. And then give it a sub viewport. And within that sub viewport, cutscene trial course, just as a test. Okay. There we go. Make it stretch. And I think that's it. We're going to attach a script to cutscenes. And this is going to be scripts, cutscenes. Let's call it cutscene handler. Okay, that's what we're actually going to call it. Cutscene handler. Go over here. Cutscene handler. Oh, no underscore. Oh. There we go. Cool. So here we can set up a dictionary of all the cutscenes. Cutscene database. Okay. Let's do trial course lost. And this is going to point to the cutscene tscn file. This one. And we're just going to store the path to the cutscene, not the cutscene itself. We don't need to preload every single cutscene in existence. Cool. Now, the cutscene needs to have a function called play cutscene. And then this will need a scene key. Let's do cutscene key. And then within a scene, you have multiple shots. So shot animation. Okay. Cool. Now, let's assume that every cutscene is going to have an animation player node. Animation player. So we do what? New animation. And we're going to call it phase out lost. Let's do 0, 1, phase out, lost. Okay. This cutscene is going to do, well, just kind of a pan. Take the camera. Use basic curves, please and thank you. And then place a keyframe here. There we go. Now, we're only working on the x-axis, so I'm gonna make this zoom in. Needs to start quick. Okay, not bad. Now, I believe it might be a good idea to have some sort of a vignette. It's nothing but vignettes. 1280 by 720. Okay, and what can we do here? We're gonna do black with an inner glow. Normal, increase the radius. Source center. Huh. Right, almost. Interesting. This makes like a perfect vignette. Okay, can we set this to like 500? No, we cannot. Okay. You know what? I don't want it to be a perfect vignette. No. Let's do this. Let's give it a transparency mask, invert it to white, and then I'm gonna use the airbrush with mirroring enabled to create a more soft vignette. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do this in like one go. Sure. Cool. We'll see how this works. So, let's save this first. This goes to Artagrise, Assets, Sprites UI. And it will export PNG, Artagrise, Engine, Sprites, UI. Nice. Give it a texture rect. And then load up. And we're going to make it size full rect. There we go. That's going to be on top. Now, we can double up on the vignette. Vignette. There we go. Okay. That's cool. Right. So, we need to launch this. Steven. Vignette. Okay. So, we have our dialogue. we can have a function called run cutscene, lost trial course tscn. So I don't think we need to send this, but we can send this trial course lost, and then the animation name is going to be, let's place this at the top, this one. There we go. Phase out, lost. Hello again. Hello. We got 2-ish hours to get this up and running. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save, and let's see, phase out lost. And I guess we'll call this 02 middle of nowhere. Okay, I don't need to actually save anything. I'm going to do duplicate middle of nowhere. We're just going to save it here for the time being. Back here. And yes. Method to call, run cutscene. Let's go play. Play cutscene. Okay, save, export. Now, this will be exporting to Artag Rise. Engine, dialogues, character dialogue. Yes. Okay. Now. What do we got? What do we need? Who is actually launching the cutscene? Who's launching the cutscene? Who's playing the cutscene? Okay, close everything. Trigger dialogue narrator, NPCs, trigger bodiless dialogue. Trigger bodiless dialogue is for just in-game dialogues. Trigger dialogue from animation player. That's not it. Trigger dialogue narrator, dialogue layer. That's UI, which is empty right now, so it serves only as a destination for the dialogue. Okay. I'm going to take a look at something. Okay. So this cutscene, I think it's animated using an animation player node. Yep. This is the first attempt at this cutscene. And then when we get to the end, create players, that's the end. We want resume. Make current. And then when we reach the end, nada. There we go. Trigger body this dialogue is what we're talking to. Now, this is interesting. Okay, it makes sense. Trigger bodiless dialogue is for non-NPC dialogues. So when there isn't like a physical NPC that we talk to, and we're using this to get the characters to talk to each other while they're still running around and actively interacting with the game. We'll get the dialogue key. message key, and then the narrator is the one that actually enacts this dialogue. So we got to go to the narrator. And the narrator is based on the generic NPC, which makes sense. And there we go. This is where all of our dialogue code is sitting. Generic NPC, gotta remember that. Now, current message key, we check for the message type. So we've added the ability to run a method if one is present in this message. So we made it so that every message has the ability to call a method now. Okay. So let's return here. We're gonna check. Here we go. Get the message. Current dialog key, message data, message key. Okay. So if the dialog has what? We need to quickly double check something. No file selected. Yeah, no. Character dialog JSON. Ooh, boy. Okay, let's prettify this for just a sec. Okay. Message type, call method. That's not quite right. That's a dedicated message to call a method. There we go. Method to call play cutscene. So this is the property that has to be present. Here we go. So if the message has method to call, then retrieve or split arguments from string. So var arguments. If it has method to call, it should have method args. So we will take this. We'll get the arguments. We're going to split those arguments using the comma. All right, because we're doing comma here. There's also a space. Might have to be mindful of that. So this is arguments. Now, there is a way for us to call a method. We know that we have has method, so we should also have a way to execute a method. Get method, has method. I think it's just call. Call, yeah, call deferred, that's right. So we'll do call, and we are going to extract this method. Okay, so call this method, and it does accept parameters, and we don't really have to bind anything, but how does it accept those parameters? Because I'm pretty sure it only accepts them as a comma-separated value. Calls a method, the object returns the result. This method supports a variable number of arguments. The parameters can be passed as a comma-separated list. Now, comma-separated list on one side sounds like it can pass an array. On another side, I feel like they just meant list as in he, comma, Heh. Oh, here we go. Calls the method of an object and returns the result. Unlike call, this method expects all the parameters to be contained inside of an argument array. Thank you. Thank you. That is awesome. They have thought of everything. So call v, right? And then we can just supply the array of arguments like that. I know, right? It's just every time there's a problem, Godot has something that resolves it. Like, that is nuts. Cool. Okay, so it's gonna call the method. Now. Okay, so we do have a bit of a problem. If there is nothing, it's still present. I might want to... Hold on. I'm gonna change something. I'm gonna update the tool to make it not populate the key value pairs for method to call if there are no arguments, because that's just wasteful anyways. Okay. So method to call. I'm just gonna do it off the side. Okay. If method to call is not an empty string, then push, save it. Okay, cool. And I should be able to now go back here, reload, hard reload, load this up. So let's go to phase out lost. There's the method. These ones don't have anything. Interesting. Might have an error. Cannot set property of null, setting value. 795. Each data value. Well, what the heck? You didn't unlock the interface, which means something went sideways. The question is, what? Cannot set property of null, setting value. Data element. It tried to access what? Well, tell me what's in the variable, please and thank you. Oh, we console log it. Load default loop, each data key. Method to call. Okay. There's a piece of code that is meant to automatically load this data. Message type, position, sound, it continues. So I need to make sure that it also includes method to call and method args. Okay. Got it. Okay. Let's give that a try. Reload the page. Import. And phase out. Nice. Cool. So now, hypothetically, all I do is save and export and replace it. Dear God, help me. Yep, I want to reload it. And now method to call, and then nothing else has the method to call. So there's only 2 mentions of it. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. So that's not going to, whoops, I did not mean to save it. Just do this. All right. So what method is it calling? It's calling the play cutscene. And we know that the play cutscene is going to save. It's going to accept two parameters. Okay, so func play cutscene. So this is going to be scene key, and then shot name. Okay. Perfect. What do we do in this case? So we have play cutscene. The problem is that the narrator isn't the one that plays the cutscene. Let's call this instead request cutscene. Okay. I'm just going to save myself the trouble. Instead of play cutscene, it's going to be request cutscene. Because the cutscene itself object is going to be the one that plays it. So, cutscene handler. Cutscene handler is what we're working on right now. There we go. Oh yeah, it's still called cutscenes. Did it get updated here? Yes. Nice. So here it has the play cutscene. Beautiful. So we do cutscene handler play cutscene. And then it needs to forward these two values. Cool. Come to think of it, I think that the first two dialogues should not have two consecutive cutscenes in them. Because it's this and the response, and then the next thing is the one that switches to the next slide, so to speak. Okay. Save, export. There we go. Yes. Let me double check this. Method to call. Har Har Dimitar. Welcome. Okay, we got request cutscene. Yes. So now that is separated by an empty message. That's good. And it does not have the method to call. All right. So what do we need to do in this case? We have our narrator. The cutscene handler plays the cutscene, so we got to go here. All right. Now, what we need to do is instantiate this cutscene in here. So we don't want the one to be present. We need to double check that the cutscene isn't already there. So we're gonna save the cutscene name as a currently loaded cutscene variable. So there we go. And then we're gonna check if it is not the same, then it will become the same. And then we need to take the cutscene database, cutscene instance, go to the cutscene database, access, god dang it, access the cutscene by the use of a key. And then we need to load the resource. instantiate, and insert it into here. There we go. Okay. Next, we launch the cutscene. And we do it here. So, we're going to assume that every cutscene has a... we're going to assume that every cutscene has an animation player. So get node animation player. Right, this guy. Okay, yep. And let's not lose our footing here. Cutscene handler. And then we're going to tell it to play the animation under this name. Perfect. Cool. How do we actually trigger this? Well, let's maybe pop into the scene where this is supposed to take place. Not this one. It's not this one. Cutscene trial course. Nope. Okay, I guess we gotta load it. Levels. And this is trial course. Where is it? Lost in the Mountain? Nope. Should probably give these better names. Demo action intro. Nope. I gotta redo that level. The layout is kind of ass. This one's a really nice one. We gotta make use of it. Let's see. Mountainside post escape. That's the one. Okay. So, no custom systems after this should be required. We should be able to just trigger bodiless dialogue. Trigger bodiless dialogue. And just position it. Oh, right. Trigger bodiless dialogue. This is not a physical node. Trigger dialogue narrator. Huh. Yeah, you know what? Trigger bodiless dialogue. Let's do that. This one has a trigger function. The argument is not used, but it does start a dialogue with a particular dialogue key, message key, and then phrase number. Cool. I think that's good. I'm gonna put a timer here. Do we have something like a timer trigger? Trigger through a timer? No? Okay, that's fine. Let's make one. Okay, we're gonna call it timed trigger. Save it to the sprites. Scripts, excuse me. This would be utility or level mechanics. Yeah, I think we had a folder for like generic level mechanics. Scripted events. Trigger dialogue narrator. Yeah, time to trigger. Let's do that. So we're gonna get ourselves a signal. Nope. Wrong node. We need to send it into itself. Okay, and then we need to give it a and export var trigger targets. And it's going to be an array of node paths. And I know that we can do an array of nodes now. I will take advantage of that when appropriate. Node paths, path. Okay, so for path in trigger targets, get node, supply the path, trigger, done. This is going to be set as a one-shot, and I'm going to save it. Save it to objects, generic path follower. Nope, this is level mechanics. Don't go for texture in Painter. Got it. Machete. Okay, time to trigger. That trigger pre-recorded character, utility, invisible trigger. I think this is it. Utility timed trigger. Okay, so this should allow us to trigger something after a certain amount of time. Let's give it the trigger bodiless dialog, and this will know what dialog to be triggered. It's a single use. Dialog key is what? This is the dialog key. Message, starting message is start, and then 0 is the starting phrase. And that should be it. Okay. Set it to 2 seconds. Let's see. Okay. It didn't crash, but it didn't actually do anything. I think it's because our cutscene is just always visible. So, cutscene handler, disable this. When the play cutscene is requested, visible becomes true. Oh yes, and we also need to make sure that the timer auto starts. 2 seconds. Crash. Okay, well, we got progress. I'll take a crash over nothing happening at all. Invalid call function trigger on base node. Trigger bodiless dialog expects 1 argument. Huh? It wants origin. Okay. Got it. Yeah, that is something that we have to make sure we do. We're going to send self. Let's try that again. 2 seconds. Crash. What's next? Notice this function split on bool. Huh? Method args. Now, why would it think that this is a boolean? If it has method to call, weird. Method to call, and it is... Whoa. What the hell is this? Oh, it's a single string. Right. It's a single string containing 2 arguments. Got it. So why did it think that it is a boolean? Let's find out. I'm gonna go here, print, and take a look at what's inside. There we go. Method to call. Oh, what the hell am I doing? Why am I checking if it has? See, that's what happens when you copy paste. We access. Dang it! Come on. There we go. We access method arguments. Access the method call. All right, little by little, fixing the nonsense. Okay. Play null instance, because assignation player is not a valid node. Okay, but we are making progress. Okay. Okay, another crash. Come on. Attempt to call function play and base null instance on a null instance. Huh. This has to be equals, by the way. Okay. It says trial course lost. Okay. So this should have a valid instance in it, technically. If we go to the remote, let's take a look at the cutscene handler. There we go. It's right there. And then the animation player is inside of it. Uh-huh. The animation player isn't in the sub viewport. It is in the get child 0. And then there we look for the animation player. You ever just named...
For fuck's sakes, man!
Hey.
I would have gotten it working.
What the shit? What? I think I need to make sure that the viewport has its own world. Own world. Okay, let's try that again. Have it named stuff inconsistently. It's getting better and better over time. You know, it's a consistent problem. Okay.
For fuck's sakes, man!
All right.
I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would.
So that worked, but the animation did not play, or it did, but very quickly. By the time we can see the scene, it's already done. Let's see here. So phase out. Camera has to be set to current. Maybe that's why. Do I have an error? Oh, play cutscene animation not found. 01 phase out lost. So it's right there though. Oh. The space. The space in the argument. Okay. So So I need to make it a rule to not use spaces in arguments. Okay. It's either that or I have to write a parser.
For fuck's sakes,
Yes!
man! I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Okay, and now the system Godot crashes is what now happens. Damn it. It's okay. It's okay. I'll forgive it because we got the system working. R-Type Rise. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Right. So it works. I think we need to fix up some stuff with the dialogue text. I know who you VA. Nice voice acting. Well, these are our characters. Like, this entire game revolves around the retroactive gamers, right? The two characters from our YouTube channel. So, you know, it's our brand game. It's the brand game that's been going on for the past 6 years that is supposed to throw us into stardom. Any day now. Any day now. Okay. Yeah. In reality, the game is supposed to follow a number of protagonists, and you kind of switch between them to address different perspectives and different sides of the story. We're just like one of them. Okay, so that worked. That worked pretty well. Now, single message. I think we need to do something about the legibility of the text. And the size of the text, I think. Okay. Another thing is I wanted to make the dialogue not settle the camera. So let's do like 3 seconds, and then we'll take this frame. Okay. That's sort of the idea. Okay, so this is better than just static images, I think. And why don't we give the camera... Let's give it a script. Cutscene camera. Okay. I hope there isn't already something like that. Or maybe I hope there is. Scripts. And there is a cutscene camera. What the shit? What? It's in scripts. Literally called cutscene camera. I don't think it does what I think it does, though. Cutscene camera. Physics bot says cam motion time. Oh, it does exactly what I think it does. It just has the wiggle. Cam motion X. Vertical offset. Yeah, okay, so screw this. We'll just use this guy. Although, this is for 2D. Right. Okay, so I think we can discard the 2D cutscene camera because we're not going to be doing 2D cutscenes. I'm just trying to think if there's ever going to be a case where we do. Ooh, okay. Better play on a retroactive gamers when it come out. Maybe after a whole bunch of time when everyone else has had a chance to play it. Or maybe we'll just play it ourselves and be like, ha, spoilers. Here you go. Let's do this. We're gonna attach a script and we're gonna call it cutscene camera 3D. Scripts, cutscene camera 3D. Okay. Now, I don't think the 3D camera has offset. Oh, it does have offset. Nice. Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so... Which means, hold on a second. Does this not mean that I can just use the same script? Let me try this. Cutscene camera. Oh, but the 3D camera class is not the same as... Okay, that's fine. You know what? I'll just copy this. Hello. How are you? Good day, sir. Okay, so we got drag horizontal offset, drag vertical offset. That's not a thing. Okay, and then we have a shake, but we'll work with this for the time being. From Russia with love. Nice. How are you doing? Okay, shake amount. Are we still talking to the proper settings? H offset. Shake X. So I suppose this is where we need to do H offset. V offset. Okay, let's double check this. Mm-hmm.
For fuck's sakes, man. I would have gotten it.
Okay, so it's a little harsh. Starts off way too quickly, but it works. It works. Okay, cool. So all that's really left to do is to play out this cutscene. Get it up and running. We could give it a directional light. Make it shine down. Oops. Okay. But go in here, make a 1024 by 1024 texture. And we need to generate noise. Okay. Now, I don't think we have a noise generator here. Uh, no. Simple noise canvas. Oh, come on. All right, that's fine. Let's just find ourselves noise generator texture. Yeah, that's what we need. Sure. Yeah. Get that noise texture in here. Then get this in. Ooh. One more time. New layer. We are going to apply this as a transparency mask, or convert to transparency mask. Nice. And then this gives us this. Now, we can invert it, and we can also clamp it like this. Okay. How many preloaded textures? Too many preloaded textures? When the frame rate starts going down. Artec Rise engine sprites. Not, technically we can put this into textures. Textures utility. Okay, and this is the holy noise. Get it? Okay. Let's get a mesh instance. I'm gonna pin the camera. Mesh instance. Give it a quad mesh. Surface override material. And then we'll give it an albedo texture. Get our texture in here. And we're going to make it be alpha scissor. Okay. Now. Take the directional light, give it shadows. Take the mesh instance, scale it up. Okay. Let's increase the UVs. Mm-hmm. We could do something like this. Also, our grass is not shaded. We may want to make sure that we have the ability to set it to be shaded. So, export var shaded false set new value. We're gonna forward the new value into the shaded property. So it gets updated, and we run generate again. Take the shaded property, and then when we create the new sprite, set the shaded to be whether or not it's shaded. You can assign procedural noise texture 2D too many material slots. Yes, I have to use that more to get used to remembering that that is something. I just kind of went with the first thing that came to mind. Okay. So this is Pebbles. Cool. And then go here. Shade it. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay. Not bad. You know what I think Godot developers should add to the engine? So I think they should add limited range, or the ability to toggle limited range. The camera preview is an add-on. Yes, it's called Little Camera Preview. Um, they should add a directional light limited range. So you know how if you have, let's say, clouds casting a shadow on a very long stretch of valley, you would usually be able to see far, far in the distance and still see shadows. Now, for the game engine, in order for that to be the case, you have to have an infinite texture onto which to store the directional shadows. So obviously that's not something that can be done. So instead of, say, you're looking at your valley, right? Let's say you're looking at the, where's my pen? Let's say if you get your valley like this, okay, and then you set your directional light, and then in that directional light, technically, it is a bunch of shadows from the clouds, let's say, and buildings, right? And then eventually, if there's like a big building, it just covers the entire plane, but eventually you'll just see that it just cuts out because that's the edge of the shadow mask. I think that the Godot developers should add a feature where it doesn't transition to light, but it just stays dark, stays shaded. And it's, instead of pushing light everywhere and then on top of it overlaying the shadow, they should make everything dark and only the immediate area is the one that gets lit. Because then when you reach the very end of the shadow mask, the texture that stores the shadows, it just continues being dark. I feel like that would be a better and more natural, of all things, a more natural way of handling lighting and shadow. And, make it switchable. Let me see if I can. Cloud shadows. Yeah, like this. Here's a good example. So, right there, that distance, that's just darkness. No light actually permeates there. And then this patch is technically the limit of your render distance. So everything past this limit is darkness. Shaded area. That way you can have cloud shadows and building shadows be in light, and light rays be within your render range. And then anything past is in the shade. Because it sure looks a lot more awkward when it's just, we have shadows, 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 and then lightness. Nothing but lightness. Okay. Anyways, that's just my little rant. What do we got here? What we got here is, I don't actually want everything casting shadows, or this effect being over everything. I just want it to be over the ground. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna make alpha cut discard, and I'm gonna position it like this, so that it just casts a shadow over this area. Because this area is not really supposed to be in the light. There we go. Just some little trickery and fakery. That's all good. Okay, what else can we do here? Glow's not needed. We could do fog. Hmm. Man, you can make some really interesting scenes with this. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. You know, we might actually have everything we need to pull off a little bit of a delay, I think. If I go over here, I call it start. This would be start 1. And then I make the slide appear on this message, but this message is of type pause for a second. Next message key is start 1. And that's it. It's going to pause for 1 second, and we'll just go ahead and export this. That 1 second should give the time for the cutscene to kick in. We'll probably need to make it fade in or have a blackout or something like that. So yeah, character dialogue. Go back here. Also, I think we need to dial down the fog. Oh, okay. Crashed. It crashed. Shaded. Value of type nil. Huh? Shaded value of type nil. Right, it's a new property. Not every single one of those nodes has a setting for this property. So shaded. Yeah, rock should be shaded as well. And this should be shaded. There we go. Part of me wants to display the cutscene in a window on top.
For fuck's sakes, man! I would have gotten it working!
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Okay, that's cool. A bit much. A bit too much. But that's cool. Can we adjust? We cannot adjust. Shake amount. Cam motion. Okay, let's do this. Export. Cam. Wiggle. What is it? Cam shake. It's not a shake. It's not like an explosive shake. It's more cam wobble amplitude. Let's do, what do we have here? Cam motion time. Yeah, so that's the cam motion. Let's call it cam motion amplitude. Let's do 1.0. It's a variable, of course. And then we have shake amount, cam motion. Okay, so this is already multiplied by 0.1. We're going to multiply also by this value. And you know what? Let's also make this an export variable too. Cam motion time. No, that's not good. That's not what needs to be the export. This is just the one that keeps track of time. Cam motion speed 0.5. So we're going to put that here. Zero 0.5 cam motion. Man, I gotta say, I can't wait to get into like third-person dev. I think that would be really cool with all these cutscene tools. Cam motion, cam speed. So we should be able to adjust it now. We take this. Cam amplitude is going to be 0.2. And then let's do 0.9, or I guess 1.0 will be the speed. Cannot do floats because why? Because what the heck? Cam motion speed. Oh. Right. 1.0 is just 1. Okay. Gonna do this.
For fuck's sakes, man! I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Okay. And we crash. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and save this. This is assets, textures. So, holy noise. Save it, save it, save it, save it, save it. Okay. Here we are. So, what do we got to do here? Well, we got to do the next shot. The next shot is kind of like an over the top view. It's kind of like this. Vines obscuring. Okay. Let's not do that. Lock guides. Okay, so we got vines pointing to the players. Right. And then the characters themselves are kind of standing top down. My pen pressure is not working. Yay. Actually, I'm not even using a brush that's supposed to have pen pressure. Nope. Pen pressure is still not working. Okay. One day, I will be able to afford the premium grade sashimi, Wacom, or Intuos, or whatever the hell drawing display. Today is not that day. I kind of wish Microsoft put a little bit more work into their, what is it, Surface Pro? You know? Although, no, to hell with that. That's an entire ass computer. Never mind. That's a terrible idea. I just want a display. Okay. Nice. So let me just set this up. Okay, so this is how the characters are standing. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do something about the vines. The vines being everywhere. It's an anime shot. Not quite. Old Surface Pro, not a fan. Yeah. I've seen people complain about performance issues, especially. It's a humongous screen with many pixels. Very densely packed pixels. And the world's shittiest graphics card to drive all of those pixels to boot. It's like, what are you thinking? What is wrong with you? Yeah. For now, I'm just working with a Huan. Huan, as I call it. With their Chinese spying software. Okay. So, sure. This is just kind of storyboarding stuff. So let me get this. As long as I'm not going to draw cyanide and happiness. Wee, easy. Don't break the pen. Huon people have heard me. I'll break his shit. Sounds like he hasn't experienced driver problems in a while. Okay. There's a lot of foreshortening here. That's not good. Okay. That is generally the idea. Maybe we can face them here. Okay. So that's just the idea. I think it might be a little bit too small, but generally speaking, this is the camera shot I want to try. So, Shizzy, yo! Welcome. Okay, so let's try this. I should probably paint them a little bit larger than needed. As a matter of fact, I should make this entire image just 1080p. Because we export individual components anyways. You just started a sub. Thank you. Appreciate it. As a matter of fact, this channel doesn't need subs. Go to the Retroactive Gamers sub channel and drop a sub there instead. Link in the description. That channel needs it way more than this one. This one's just fine. Perfect. Okay. So, maybe I should do that before we color anything. Resize, scale image to the new size. And that's going to be pixels. 720, so this is 1080. Okay. So this way I don't have to paint oversized images. We could just stick to whatever's in here. Alright, Ronald, sub. Hey, go for it. As long as you drop a sub there. That's all that matters. There we go. Using Krita. Yeah, man, Krita's amazing. Just gets the job done. Okay. So, yeah, I don't need to draw oversized. There we go. Okay, we don't really have such profoundly defined jawlines in the characters. So, do I really need to go this clean this early? Let's do, yeah, let's just do draft stuff. Wish I could, but YouTube doesn't allow me to sub twice. You haven't paid for YouTube Premium by the sound of it. Ho ho ho. Okay. What's after using for dialogue branches? I have a tool that I built on the Concept Bay website that I use to build out like the dialogue trees, and it's publicly available. You can always just mess around with it, and then it just produces a JSON file, and then you program your game to just follow through the JSON file. You got the quest check, quest task giving, task checking, item checking, playing music, stopping music if that is needed. If it's like an important cutscene, pausing for a few seconds, random message, auto message that plays when you're talking to an NPC. It's that sort of stuff. Everything else is pretty much everything is designed in house. Okay. We're gonna keep that as it is the time being. There we go. %1,000th of a cent. Nice. Delicious. Beautiful. Okay, so there's something off with this perspective. Actually, I think it's something off with just portions. It's kind of a challenging angle. All right. I'll leave that there. Save it. Let's get this character in place. Pixel brushes, blah, 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 and dither brush, because no matter how bad you draw, it's not that bad because pixels fix this. I don't know if I'm going for pixel because I'm actually showcasing this artwork in three-dimensional space. So it might not really work out that well. Okay. So technically, that's all that I need for these two characters. So group it. Oh. Single layer. Yes. Okay. And then this is still kind of drafty, so we'll sort it out after. All right, cool. Save it up, and we're gonna keep this quick. Export layers. Oh boy. Okay. O2. What is it? Tim? Yes. O2 Milo. Nice. Let's go ahead and tool scripts export layers. Pop, pop, pop. Boop. And engine, sprites, cutscenes, sprites, and then cutscenes. So characters, or I guess scenes, and then we have trial course lost. I'm gonna save this here for now. We'll definitely need to figure out a proper way to organize these. Do twins get garbaged when they are done? Yes, in Godot 4. Okay. Oh, I guess we gotta reopen it. Okay, so going in here, get the camera. Beautiful. So that's the first cutscene. I'm gonna need to get to this one. We're gonna have to make sure that all the elements are hidden over the course of the multiple cutscenes. So we might have to organize our characters into scenes, or let's call it node 3D. We're gonna call it scenes. Okay. And scenes is going to contain any nodes that have to be like hidden between the camera shots. Okay, so we got this and this. We're gonna go into the scenes. Node 3D. And then 0, 1. Okay. So we need to hide the scene. We need to hide the scene. So if we hide the scene, interesting. How do we hide the scene so that the next scene is gonna just kick in? I feel like we should just run a function to hide all the scenes and then have them be visible here. Because otherwise, if we have, let's say, 15 camera angles in one single cutscene, then in all 15, I have to hide 15 elements and reveal 1. I don't know if I want to do that. So we could give it a script And the job of the script would be to enter the scenes node and then hide everything inside. That may or may not work. It may look kind of buggy. We'll have to see. So, scripts, cutscenes, okay, and then this is going to be cutscene tools. Okay, let's call function hide scenes, and then this function is going to go here for each scene in scenes get children, and we're going to tell them to hide. So then in the beginning of the animation, we can use a call method track and then tell it to run hide scenes. And then shortly after, we're going to tell it to make this be visible. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's do 0.001 so that it is played like a fraction of a second right after. Can you explain how to organize big project? It's personal to every single developer and every single project. So what works for me is something that only made sense after a whole bunch of projects that looked like a mess. So, you know, something that we just have to organize ourselves, figure out ourselves. So if we go here, middle of nowhere, once again, we're going to have a call method track. The method is going to be hide scenes. But here, we're going to have another node with different scenes in it. So, let's take a look here. Sprites, and then, yes, cutscenes, scenes. Just gonna do this. Duplicate. You're gonna show this, and then you are gonna show this. Okay, and then we're gonna make it visible. There we go. And then this has to be executed 0.001 seconds after the hide scenes is executed. Camera. We're gonna have to make it be located like this. And of course, camera perspective is sitting on top of our image perspective. So maybe we can do enabled. What else? We need to get some vines that surround the camera. Oh yes, can't really do that because of reasons. Gonna have to disable this. There we go. Okay. Again, a lot of this stuff is pretty much just smoke and mirrors. I'm going to see if we can get a little camera motion here. Just a little bit of a rise. But I feel like if we don't position these vines right, camera motion is just going to break the immersion. Oh, that looks perfect. Never freaking mind. Hell yeah. Okay, so we set the position here. Set the angle, I suppose. That makes sense. Ooh. Hey. Come on now. Oh, yeah, that's right. Do this. And then let's set this to 5 seconds. Make it slowly rise up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's set this to about 8. Okay, so this is 2 middle of nowhere. I believe that is exactly what we've set this guy to. 02 middle of nowhere. Yes. So that should hopefully work. Let's see. Okay.
For fuck's sakes, man.
Rotation. Camera rotation. We forgot to have a keyframe on camera rotation. Makes sense. Reset. Right. And then I think the code should take care of hiding everything. No crashes today. On your end? It's not the case on my end. Okay, let's see if that works. Come on.
For fuck's sakes, man. I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Oh, okay. So we crashed. Why did we crash? Instantiate. Lost trial course TSCN. Lost trial course TSCN based dictionary. Well, wait a minute. Trial course lost. Oh. Whoops. It's this one. Trial course lost. Right. Save it, export it, overwrite it. Oh. Let's try that again.
For fuck's sakes, man! I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Okay. Come on, I want to see that second slot. We got 19 minutes left. Trial course lost TSCN. There's not supposed to be a TSCN in there. It's supposed to be a key. Oh. I might have to try to override the default Control S key behavior in the dialog builder tool, so that it just saves the file.
For fuck's sakes, man! I would have gotten it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
great favor. It spit us out in the middle of God knows where, and there's not a phase gate in sight, all because you decided to take things into your own damn hands. And this isn't even the first time.
Dude, this is so cool. Ah, this is so freaking cool. That's it. Like, that's it. Our cutscenes system is now in place. That whole issue is resolved. It does look nice. Like, for the 2 measly frames there are. Yeah.
For fuck's sakes, man!
Let's
I
figure
would
out
have
the
gotten
transition.
it working.
Yeah, like hell you would. The thing was clearly busted. I did us a favor.
Oh yeah, great favor. It spit us out in the middle of God knows where, and there's not a phase gate in sight, all because you decided to take things into your own damn hands. And this
Okay. Man, this is awesome. This is actually freaking cool. The dialogue is a little cut off because we've increased the size of the font. Not a huge problem. Just gonna do this just a bit. But yeah, I'd say this pretty good. It's gonna add a ton to the game. Oh man, the amount of work that this is gonna save me on making like cutscenes that take place in the same location, right? I was dreading like having to redraw the background every time, but this it's pretty damn good. It's actually even better than I envisioned it originally, because originally I just thought flat images, slideshow, right? Fun fact. Hitman, the new Hitman games, they started with their partnership with Square Enix. And they had the budget to do animated cutscenes for the first, I think the first game only. But then the IO Interactive had like a shitstorm, and they broke up with Square Enix, no more funding, and this is why in Hitman 2 there's no more animated cutscenes. They just went with this style, like still images with parallax effect on top of it. Which, some people thought, oh, like, what's happening here? Why does this, like, degrade in quality? But they had to do it because they'd rather put money towards the gameplay rather than the money towards cutscenes. So, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Honestly. Okay, we do have a bit of an issue, though, and it's the fact that the location doesn't quite match, the background specifically. Maybe. The background right now is concrete here, but it's dirt over there. So we'll worry about that afterwards. I think swapping it out shouldn't be too difficult. There's a whole bunch of places where there's like it's one single location and there's like characters talking back and forth. So just swapping out the static components and then switching the camera position like a diorama. Yeah, exactly. Having just the various dioramas, there's a bit of a camera shake, camera movement to it, so it's not just like a flat static image. I think it really helps. Cool. All right. Not flippin' bad, man. I'd say this is pretty satisfactory in terms of the sort of quality it brings, and then I presume as we keep going along, it's gonna get better and better. Cool. All right, so that's it. We'll wrap it up here. We'll continue in the next one. And, yeah. See you guys. Man, productive week so far. God damn.